The Game Boy will be 32 in 2021, and people are still making games for the system. And one of them also happens to include a music album as well. Dimeo's Jukebox, made by TG Virtual, follows Rob Dimeo trying to recover his music trapped in jukeboxes scattered across the galaxy. The only way to retrieve them is to wander through portals stationed in the Avalar Museum. If you're a fan of puzzle games, Dimeo's Jukebox is right up your alley. It works a lot like Quirk, Boxel, and Amazing Tater. You go around each level solving puzzles, and at the end of each level, you unlock a tune for you to enjoy at the jukebox. You could purchase the digital ROM for $15 Canadian or $12 US, but if you want the full Game Boy experience, you can spend $88.79 Canadian or $70 US to have a physical copy of the game shipped to your door. That's right, a physical Game Boy game in 2020. Or when you're watching this, 2021. I pre-ordered this game in October and just forgot about it until it landed at my door on December 28th. It didn't even get a shipping confirmation, so I was pretty surprised when I got it. So what do you get for $70? Well, included in the box is a cartridge, a little box art card with info about the artist and how to download the album, a poster, and a manual. The manual and poster are 8.5 by 11 inches and folded to fit in the box. I would have liked a manual similar to the original Game Boy games and include instructions on how to play, but the game has simple gameplay and characters to guide you through the game. The dimensions and layout of the box are the same as any official Game Boy box, right down to the font and Nintendo logos. The blue in the lettering is slightly darker than the original, and they're missing the official Nintendo seal quality, but this game is still pretty good. The box is made of a heavier stock than original Game Boy boxes, which makes it a little bit harder to open up, but it still has that glossy finish which makes it look just like an original game that you'd find at a store. The cartridge looks like a real Game Boy cartridge with the Nintendo Game Boy logo on the top and notches on the top right corner. If you compare it to an original Game Boy cartridge, you'll start to notice some differences though. The most obvious is that Dimeo's Jukebox is a bit more blue than the original cartridge, and the plastic is a little bit thinner. If you hold it up to a light source, you can see that it's pretty thin. The label is well done as well. It's glossy just like the original and has little black bars on each side telling you the serial number and which way to put it in your Game Boy.
What is it? Oh.
When you open up the cart, you're greeted with a simple reproduction board. Even though it doesn't look exactly the same as an original Game Boy game, I'm glad that no original parts were harmed in the making of this game. So let's see how well the game plays. Now, I'm not going to show you a whole bunch of gameplay as to not spoil the game puzzles. Each level is laid out pretty simple, as Game Boy puzzle games tend to go. When you first start the game, you need to walk into one of the 5 portals, but you have to do them all in order, so only the first one is available when you first start out. Each level just plops you in with little explanation of what to do. Everything is really cryptic, but the first level gives you a good idea of what you need to do in order to solve puzzles in the future. The levels are broken up into 2 parts, the first part being a maze and then the second being a puzzle where you need to push a stone into a portal to proceed to the end. When you get stuck, you can just press start twice to reset the level. When you reach the end of the level, you're transported to the Toby Yug where you can listen to a chiptune song on the jukebox. If you didn't want to listen to it all the way through, you can just move to the right and go back to the portal select screen. Each level completed will unlock the next level. When you finish all 5 levels, you unlock the Jukebox, which contains all 5 songs that you can listen to in any order that you want. There are also 3 bonus puzzles for you to enjoy as well. The drawback of the game is that it's kind of short, but then again, a lot of Game Boy games don't have that much depth to them, and when you turn off the game, everything resets and there's no passwords or anything. But you don't really need to play the entire game again just to listen to the songs. There's a jukebox mode right at the start. The graphics of the game are what you would expect for a Game Boy game. It doesn't try to do too much and make the Game Boy sluggish. Some people like to make a Game Boy style game which couldn't possibly play on the original hardware, and I did play on the original Game Boy, but they did take into account that people might want to play it on Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance, so there are some color palettes that give the game more depth, and also some of the bricks stand out a lot more, making the game a little bit easier. But the major draw of this game is the soundtrack, and the music is really awesome, especially if you like chiptune music. Making a chiptune album that also plays on original hardware isn't a new concept. In fact, I have the first chiptune album on a cartridge right here, but it is still really cool to have people create music on old hardware and then make it available to listen to on that hardware as well. You can also download the music when you purchase the game and listen to it on your computer or whatever, but I think it sounds best through that little tiny speaker on the Game Boy. So that's Dimeo's Jukebox, a fun little game that will be nice to have on my shelf and something to show off to people who didn't think that Game Boy games were still being made this long after it was discontinued. If you're interested in buying the game for yourself, you can check out the link in the description. And that wraps up this video on Dimeo's Jukebox. If you liked the video, please give it a like and share it with those who might find it interesting. If you're new here, check out my other content that I have available, and if you like what you see, consider subscribing for future content. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at SnickTendo. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Super Nintendo, and I'll see you next time.